what we're doing here.
We're gonna discharge it. Into that
oh, is that one the one that's over? No, that's it's just a 6-year inspection date.
Yeah.
So you unscrew the little end of it, which is
nozzle.
just a little nozzle.
The
nozzle with the
hose.
hose.
Put a fitting on it so we can shoot it off.
And we're going to shoot it off into
the
this
recovery pod.
Recovery, what they call it?
It's a recovery pod. All it is, it doesn't let the powder out. Just hold it.
Crank that baby up. And it's totally sealed except for some filter paper on top, so the air can escape.
Yeah.
So now that fire extinguisher is at 0. And who in their life has ever discharged a fire extinguisher? That's the question. Most people don't know how to use it. I buy my Corvair parts from a place in Massachusetts called Clark's Corvair Parts, and once a year he hires the fire extinguisher guy to come in and show everybody how to extinguish a fire. He lights up a bunch of newspaper in the parking lot. So now you're removing it.
Pull the head off it, which these ones, they can be pretty tricky to do.
Is that because they're junk made in China, or?
Yeah, they're not put together very well.
Why should they be? It's cheap labor. Bought some vice grips at a flea market last year. It's coming up again next week. And the guy says to me, he says, those are the Chinese ones. I said, really? They used to be made in Nebraska. He says, the Chinese ones have a rivet that holds that release lever.
Yep.
The American ones had a roll pin. Otherwise, identical tooling. They would stick the tooling from Nebraska where they used to make the vice grips and brought it to China. All the jobs are gone. They made it in the same plant for 60 years.
Yeah.
What's yours? Thank you. Oh, that just I see what that is.
Just a brake.
It's a pneumatic brake. Need a bigger hammer, BFH.
When they build these, if you ever seen them build them, they don't even thread the top of these. When the head goes on, it's all automated, you know.
Yeah, they're
robotics.
making a million of them a day.
The head just comes down, drops in there, and a machine grabs it and it threads it at the same time as it puts it in. So a lot of times they're not
over tightened.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a torque spec. Better to be too tight than too loose.
Yeah.
So now you removed the head assembly, because
we're going to inspect. We're just going to visually inspect the cylinder because ABC powder is highly corrosive to metal and aluminum. If you look at the back of my truck on the outside there, along the
look at the salt we drive in.
But that's all aluminum, and it just eats it.
So the powder is corrosive. I would have thought it's an inert talcum powder. I would have assumed it's just.
It's a sodium phosphate.
Sodium phosphate.
Ammonium. Depending on the BC or the ABC, it's a different type.
Really? I just presumed it was just talcum powder.
That's why.
Or something similar to. Say it again. It was.
It's This one is phosphate, sodium.
So that's actually probably dangerous stuff.
It's supposed to be non-harm. It's ammonium phosphate.
Ammonium phosphate.
It's got magnesium, aluminum, sulfate, calcium, carbonate.
I've read ingredients on a lot of containers, but I've never read the ingredients on a fire extinguisher bottle. I bet you they got some of that in Coke or Pepsi if you read the back of it.
Definitely Coke.
Once you open the whole thing up, you have to remove the.
This is the valve.
With a little O-ring. Powder on one side, nothing on the other.
This is what sticks out the top. And then
that's the pin that you see.
When you push that, it pushes this down, and that's what lets the powder out. And you have to clean this. Is what you gotta see. When they're due for their 12-year hydro test, hydro test the cylinder,
which you just throw in the garbage because they're so cheap.
You replace these
because the pin may corrode in time.
After 12 years, you're supposed to take them off.
Yep.
On a 6-year, we just put a new O-ring on it, clean this up, make sure.
New O-ring there too.
Right here.
There's 3 O-rings.
Just this one right here.
Just the one that seals the top.
This one you can take off, but all that is to keep dust and stuff from getting down.
Keep it from getting past the stem. Much like I do on my plumbing. When I go into someone's apartment and it's dripping, once I take the cartridge apart, I put a new O-ring on the shaft, put some silicone grease on it. O-ring remover. Compressed air.
That's all nitrogen.
It's nitrogen, which is inert. No moisture.
It has to be. You cannot recharge these with compressed air. It has to be nitrogen.
Because I saw compressed nitrogen. Nitrogen compressed.
It has to be nitrogen. Because nitrogen's dry. If you just used an air compressor to recharge one of these,
full of moisture.
The moisture would flake the powder up and it would work.
Somebody asked me they should put nitrogen in their tires and pay the $30.
They say.
I say
you get a little better gas mileage. I got nitrogen in my tires. Now we get a better gas.
Yeah. It's like saying when you get a tune-up, you get better gas mileage. Well, if your air filter is totally blocked, duh, but it's not the problem. The problem is you haven't maintained your vehicle.
Exactly.
You got all the O-rings up here.
O-rings, valves, nozzles.
All kinds of goodies.
Good stuff.
All the good stuff. And the fan is to keep this place ventilated.
That's my furnace.
Oh, that's electric.
No, it runs off the motor.
Oh, it's got water lines. Oh, that's like in a school bus. They have them in the back. Just a box with a radiator. And I thought that was a drain.
Heater core.
Yep. ACC climate control. Elkhart, Indiana. That's where they make the motorhomes in Elkhart, Indiana.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. And Colorado. And let me tell you, things were real bad a couple years ago because nobody was spending their money. But now sales are right back up. All the O-rings you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Beco-Lube, lubes, penetrates, protects, moisturizes, supplied specifically for the fire extinguishing service industry. Huh. Eliminates sticking mechanism, leaves no residue. Get results with Beco-Lube, and it's made in Charlotte, North Carolina, wholesale only. In Vermont, they call it Charlotte. In North Carolina, they call it Charlotte. And we'll see if my buddy watching that video, my plumbing friend, because he lives in Charlotte. We went to visit him when we were there last year. A lot more complicated to put this together than I thought. This special Beco lube kind of.
This is Parker O-lube for O-rings and seals.
Parker O-lube.
It's just grease.
Just grease.
But everything has to be from the fire prevention to use on fire extinguishers.
Like this here, it says specifically wholesale only.
It's for O-rings. Parker
O-ring lubrication, Parker seal.
It's technically if you use something like
extends the life of synthetic rubber O-ring. Material safety data sheet. Call a physician. Call your mama. Parker seal. Lexington, Kentucky. I always read where stuff is from. Okay. I'm always curious to see where stuff is from. Somewhere in Lexington, Kentucky, where it was just barely above zero a couple days ago.
Yeah, I see that.
Wow, frozen pipes big time. It never gets cold there.
Put that back in there. It just drops down in there.
Yeah, and the other end goes to the handle, which is, I think when you press the handle, it releases that button, which lets the material. New O-ring on the top, more Parker O-ring seal, lube. Interesting, and a little bit of heat from this little heater. Well, diesels don't get hot. You got to cover the radiator.
Yeah, I'll tell you. That thing, this truck is horrendous.
It's a 7.3. What year is it?
6.0.
Oh, it's a 6 liter. I read something about those over here.
I just put a new heater out. Thermostat in it. And I wasn't getting any heat. It helped a lot.
I saw a video on the Ford 6 liters, and I don't know a thing about Fords except that they're all junk now. Some guys like Fords, some guys.
I'm a Chevy guy.
I used to fix Chevys, and I didn't like Fords because they had wiring trouble and they had this. Transmissions weren't that good, but Chevy's got plenty of problems. But I saw a video on the Ford 6 liter, and some guy that fixes millions of these that overheat down in the south or out west.
That's your spring. See what that does? So when you squeeze that, once it drops in here, it keeps tension on that valve all the time. So, watch this.
Otherwise, the handle would be too easy to press.
Well, you'd squeeze it and it wouldn't stop.
Right.
Because it would just stay down.
It's the return to closed spring.
Now your mechanism's all properly working again.
All lubed up.
That's all.
6-year inspection.
Then you just take a flashlight, look down in the cylinder.
Make sure there's no mice in there.
Make sure she's, not all pitted up, which
you'll be able to see the pitting.
Yeah, because these are aluminum or steel cylinders.
Yeah, probably aluminum.
This one's in really good shape.
Maybe I'll drill a hole through it like on my 6.5 on my Turbo Turtle pickup truck. I'm telling you, I went right through it, and then when I brought the thing up to top dead center, I could see right into the piston rings. It was a bad day.
Then you refill it
with the
powder
that you're going to recover from here. You got a pressurized vacuum seal from Getz Manufacturing, Peoria, Illinois. It was cold there too. It was cold freaking everywhere. Even Hawaii had a low freezing temperature on top of one of their mountains. All 50 states. See that powder going around. This allows the air to escape.
What it does is when it gets full, it'll shift the excess powder into this catch-all container.
Mason jar. Huh.
I have them. That's what it comes with. It comes with these plastic, but it's hard to see. So
the glass you can clean, whereas
found
the
a
plastic
mason jar.
fits the same threads.
It's the same threads, and it fits.
How much do you put in here? You fill it
5 pounds.
5. So is there a scale there?
I got a scale right here.
Aha! You've done this before, huh? 5 pounds, which is 2.2 kilos. USA and Liberia, USA and Libya are the only 2 countries that don't use a metric system.
I know.
USA and Libya. What does that tell you? We're in cahoots with Libya?
Because a lot of times, see if you look in this, it'll be hard to see. But this powder is so fluffy when you first shoot it up. It's filled almost right to the top.
Really?
And you need 4 inches. Once that compacts down for the air, to have room for the air. So a lot of times you fill it and you have to let it sit for a couple seconds. So let it start backing down. So you can put more in it because it won't fill it.
Well, that's like breakfast cereal. You buy a box that says filled by volume and the thing is half empty. Yes. You know they're lying to you. They're just using that as an excuse because there's no way they couldn't have they filled the whole bag up. Or potato chips, 2/3 air and 1/3. When you put the scale on, we're checking for 5 pounds.
Well, it'll be 8 pounds.
Oh, because you have to add the weight of the
cylinder.
And you've done this a lot, so you know.
You got 813 plus or minus 8 ounces on this one.
Done this before.
So,
right on the money.
Pretty good right there.
That's a pound scale.
Yeah.
You know, if you went to Colorado, you could also sell some weed out of the back of this truck, and you got your scale right there.
And it's legal.
And it's legal too. Well, it's just a plant that grows naturally, and you're just doing it for your own pleasure. It's less dangerous than alcohol or cigarettes.
There you go.
Tax it and make it legal. I never.
They're gonna make mint off that 25% tax. The
Well,
state's
freaking day.
And whenever you tear his fire extinguisher apart, you have to put a service collar on it and put it back together. This is proof that we've torn this apart.
That it's been open because you can't put it on.
And
I've never seen a service collar.
If you have bigger heads, you can pop that center out. But it's not supposed to be more than 1/8 of an inch around the head, because you get them too big and you can slide them right through.
Aha! Just like going to jail. You can slide your hands out of those handcuffs.
Yep.
Interesting. Learning a lot here today, I tell you. Luckily. Oh, I didn't press the start button on. We didn't make it. No, it's a joke. Once in a while I do that. I don't pay attention to the back of the camera. And I've been yakking away and I haven't made a video the whole time.
We're back together. And you don't need to over tighten them. Just snug them up.
Because it's a rubber O-ring, and once it's tight, it's tight. It doesn't need to be cranked. It's not like tapered pipe threads. Like the tighter you make it, the tighter it gets. Now you gotta test it again. A lot of work for how much does this fire extinguisher cost brand new?
Them $45.
Would it pay for me to just buy a brand new one?
This costs $23.
Half. 23 versus 45.
See, like the ones I sell are 60. When I sell Hammers, which is your other one right here, this is an Hammer. This is a much higher quality fire extinguisher
than that piece of junk. When you say better quality, better tolerances, or
yeah, everything about them is built better. The heads are steel and brass. They're just I've seen.
As opposed to cast, this is a cast, thin shelled cast. So why do I have this? Where did I buy that? The dollar store?
You probably bought it at Lowe's because that's what Lowe's says.
Could be. I honestly, I don't recall ever buying it. Joking aside, I don't recall buying one at Lowe's, but anything is possible. I never believe a landlord anyways, because all landlords care about is money.
Because that's what a lot of people do, because they don't want to spend $60 that I charge for.
This one's bigger in diameter.
Yeah.
Is it because...
It's just the way they're designed.
That it holds the same volume of powder?
A lot of times the bottoms are different on them.
Similar but it's got a smaller diameter. Well, the height's almost the same. Huh.
And a lot of times these will actually be like 6 pounds of powder, not 5 pounds on some of these.
Yeah, it looks like a little 1/4 inch bigger or 1/2 inch.
Gross weight's 8 pounds, 13 ounces plus or minus 16 ounces. And 5 pounds, 6 ounces, so it's 5.5 pounds. This is 5 pounds.
You got a big fire, you got a big problem. That's the bottom line. I don't know where. Yeah, exactly. Because it was going to make a difference. Like the guy yesterday I told you about that had that fire on the truck. The back brake started on fire, and the fireman came along and put the fire out with the inventory in the back of the truck, which turned out to be beer. That's looks like it's cross-fitted. Yeah, put out the fire on that trailer truck with beer, Bud Light. So anyways, I saw this article on YouTube. I watched it a year ago. This guy rebuilds 6 liters, does huge service on 6-liter Fords and various other Ford diesels, and he said the biggest problem with the 6 liters, radiator cap. The one from the factory has this tiny little spring, and it lets the pressure release too early or doesn't maintain it. He says you buy a cap, a stant, for $10, and the engine runs much better with a stant, not the thermostat, the cap.
Really?
Yep. So we're going to open the hood of this van in a minute, this high cube van. We're going to look at your radiator cap and see if you got the factory Ford one that has a small diameter spring or an aftermarket one that has a large spring, which is what this guy said on the video, and he seemed to know his stuff.
I'll tell you that this truck had, when it was real cold, like that, had absolutely no heat.
The radiator cap wouldn't have any effect. This is only when you get hot. They have an overheating problem with 6 liters. And from what I remember of this video, he says it's imperative that you run this big spring cap, which doesn't release the pressure as easily or whatever it does, or lets it release to the overflow bottle or some crap.
Right.
A lot of work for $23. And I bought this for $45, kind of, sort of.
Probably somewhere in there.
And that one's $60, better quality. I don't recall buying these at Lowe's. I buy a lot of
that
stuff
one
at Lowe's.
didn't come from Lowe's.
That one's only sold through the retail wholesale trade.
Most because what it is they cost so much more than
Nobody will buy it.
department stores. They can't make enough money off.
And department stores only sell what they can make money on. They don't care.
Exactly.
They only carry stuff that moves. Amerex. And this is a what?
This one here is the first alert.
Oh yeah, this might have come from Walmart maybe.
Yeah, it could come from there.
Yeah, I don't think well, I could have bought, maybe Mrs. CW bought one at Lowe's.
First alert, Kiddas, stuff like that.
Yeah. Dime store stuff.
Yeah.
But look at the nozzle on this. This'll spray those flames out. How far will a fire extinguisher shoot in terms of probably just a couple, 3 feet?
Yeah, 5 feet.
Never had to just, well actually we did. We had a fire at the country. I was lighting up some debris in the spring when there's still snow on the ground, and the grass caught fire, and it spread, and we couldn't control it. We were hitting it with a broom over here, and it would spread over there. The wind picked up, and we had a big freaking problem. We had a big problem. That's a different one again.
This is a Kidda.
Oh.
This is another one you get from Lowe's.
Yeah, really. We got the Lowe's. No, that's a Walmart one. The other one's a Lowe's one.
These are not very good. I mean, they're
mass produced.
I didn't shoot this one off. I just because all it was the guy overcharged it, so I left the powder in. And you can see, looking at one out.
Yeah, the powder's kind of sort of half.
That's what happens. You've seen how full it was on that one.
Right. This was, it was almost full.
And that is how much it compacts.
Yeah, a lot. Really fluffy.
So
yeah, it's down to 2/3 or half.
Shows you how fine that powder actually is. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the O-ring up on this, we'll put it back together and charge it up to the right pressure.
Alright. So it was discharged?
What's that?
This one was discharged?
It was overcharged.
Oh, this one was. Yeah, I wonder how did that happen?
What happened is, see, this is only 100 psi. These are 195 psi.
Double.
You probably didn't notice it.
Really?
I did this last year.
So why would one be double of the other?
That will shoot out more volume faster than this one because it's got more pressure in it. You know, obviously.
I didn't know that either. 100 pounds, 195, almost double, pretty much double.
Different. I mean,
I just would have presumed they're all the same.
The standard, the normal standard is 195. Most fire stations.
Except for these Walmart ones.
Then you start getting into these cheap ones.
These cheap ones, like the way you say that. Landlord, you'll be lucky if you get paid there, buddy. Send us the bill. We'll consider.
I'll put a new O-ring on there.
Let me see that.
I'll put a new one on there.
Junk. That's a square cut O-ring or an angle cut.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love your supply of stuff. I like having lots of merchandise. The name is called a hoarder.
They got these
special,
ones, they got square ones.
Yeah, square cut.
Big square ones.
And
most of them are pretty much round.
yep. Over tight. And